Since I realize probably nobody really understands why exhausting a specific domain is such a big deal, let me show you guys something here. So here if I go to this guy, and by the way, this guy, if I copy this into here and I execute it, right, I will actually see the entirety of the meta information about the programming language, which facilitates for machine traversable processes capable of like introspecting any type of code, ignoring its self-modifiable abilities, but still at the very least be capable to roughly estimating actually deterministically what the code is about, and including validating the code for like syntax errors and stuff like that. And I haven't even started on that. But what I wanted to show you guys, if I do option Q here now and I write some description, right, executable hyper lambda file taking limit offset and name pattern matching like filter, returning items from Chinook database and its artist table. Now if I click save and generate, so the point being initially, and of course this code works flawlessly now, right? But the point being initially, those were like the types of prompts I was obsessed about, because those were the types of prompts initially when you teach an LLM and you don't have enough training material. These are the types of prompts that gives you like the most value for your bucks, so to speak. So users tends to like try to teach an LLM this way of working, but when I reached about 40,000 training snippets, something very, very specific happened. Because all of a sudden I realized that my LLM was capable of now producing patterns I knew for a fact did not exist in its training material. And then I had this aha feeling, and I'm not sure if this is like reproducible without experience, but basically because I've been fine-tuning and testing so much, I've been like spending 3,500 hours like creating my own LLM, which probably arguably puts me up amongst like, I don't know, the top 1% or something worldwide in regards to this, simply out of sheer numbers of hours, you know. And then I realized something, which is that, you know, once you start giving it multiple different answers to the same questions, what happens then is something that's very visible here, arguably, you might say, because math.subtract, right? Okay, what slots can it take as input? Now, when I've encoded its input kind of values and its output types of values, then all of a sudden, you know, I get to define the hinges of every single slot that physically exists in the language, allowing it to create every single possible combinations of any things purely by sheer random force, brute force on the programming language, such that every single one of these functions down here is not only repeated once in the training material, but it's repeated, like if we now look through here now, just for laughs, if I can even get it up running, and let me make it a little bit smaller. Now if I go in through and I search in this augment folder, I'm not sure if This might crash my computer, but let's see. Strings.ends with, okay. It's got like 7,800 results, but by sheer random math, every single one of them providing a different configuration. Here you see it's doing on a literal with this specific value, which it is checking for. Let's see if we can find someone with expressions here. There's going to be examples with expressions further down. And here you see, here it's using an expression pointing to invoice label up here. And that completely exhausts the entirety of the domain of the programming language, providing the LLM with the hinges it needs. Because when you create an autocomplete LLM, you don't want to have inconsistencies. But actually, when you want the LLM to go beyond and get a complete understanding of the language as a whole, you must give it multiple different answers to the same question. Why? Because it allows it to find the hinges of the language, right? Such that it knows every single possible combination, which of course within a functional programming language, at which point once you succeed with that, you've basically exhausted the LLM's capability to semantically understand the programming language, because you've completely saturated the entirety of the domain. This training material contains 290,000 different structures. Different structures. You know that's, you know, a coverage of the language of like, you know, beyond 100%, above 100% understanding of the language. Because every possible slot, combination, you know, argument, values, combinations, etc., is purely statistically covered in the material due to sheer brute force using randomizer functions.